Hi guys, this is the first of many videos to talk to you all about homeschooling your children. I will go as if I'm teaching a 2-year-old how to homeschool because it's overwhelming. So if you're interested in from the very beginning of how to homeschool your children, please stay tuned for this video. Because of the pandemic, it is forcing people to have to make a decision about homeschooling. So I decided to offer a couple of free videos on how you can start the process of homeschooling your children. I'll also offer the very first thing we're going to talk about is whether your child needs kindergarten or not. So the first thing you need to do before you jump into the homeschooling situation is go to Google and put in Google search, say, is kindergarten mandatory, and then put in your state. For my state, it says kindergarten is not mandatory for Georgia. Okay, so that means that children ages 6 through 16 is required to be in school. The reason you need to know if kindergarten is mandatory in your state is because if kindergarten is not mandatory, you don't have to sign your children up for homeschool with the state. Do you understand that? You don't have to do anything in regards of sending any paperwork to let the state know where your children are if kindergarten is not mandatory. That means if your child is 5, don't worry about it. Now, even if it's not mandatory, it's still offered in many states, and some states are required to offer at least half a day of kindergarten. These are funded programs that pay for this. So anyway, so what that means is if your child is 5 years old, you don't have to worry about signing them into the state. The state's not going to come looking for you. They're not going to be like, where is your kid? They're not. Okay, if your child is 5 and your state says they have to be in school from 6 on up, then you don't have to worry about it. Take this year. If you're deciding to not put your child in school because of the pandemic, just take this year and brush up on things that they would learn if they were in kindergarten. They'd have circle time. They'd have ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, numbers, colors, shapes, and things of that nature. And I'll go into all of those things. But here's the biggest thing. If your kid is 6 years old and you need to go to the website for your state to sign your child up for homeschool. Okay, that's the first thing you're going to do. Okay, and we'll go into the next step in a minute. For us, that website is the Georgia Department of Education. For you, it may be something different. Okay, if you're going to homeschool your kids, your declaration of intent has to be in by September the 1st every year. September the 1st every year. That means by September the 1st, they're going to come looking for your kids. If your kid is not sitting in a public schoolhouse or a private schoolhouse, and if your child is not registered by you online. Okay, here's a prime example. I have a 5-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 10-year-old. Okay. So when I go to sign up my children for school with the state, the 5-year-old does not have to be signed in because they're not going to come look for me or look for him when school starts. But the other 2, they will. Yet and still, the 5-year-old has been being schooled since he's been born. He's been actively listening and participating in numbers, colors, shapes, and all that other things. So by the time it's time for me to register him with the school, he'll probably be in second grade by then. So this is one of the secrets to why homeschool children are so advanced. It's because we already get started. I mean, just because the state says they don't care where your kid is at 5 years old doesn't mean that we don't care where they are. So anyway, make that mental note. Many of you may have children that you drop off at kindergarten and they're 5 years old. Well, they're signed up with that particular school so that that particular school can run kindergarten, okay? But if you keep your child at home, they're not going to look for your child at 5 years old. I'm just saying, not in Georgia. Because nobody looked for mine. I didn't even, none of them was signed up before they were 6. So once they turned 6, then I began to register them with the state and the county where I live so that the school won't be looking for them. Okay? They know where they are. Hope you understand. If you have any questions, please put it in the comments below. I will answer them. So, a little bit more about me. I've been homeschooling. I say I've been homeschooling. Lily is 10 years old and she's in the 4th grade going to the 5th. But I always put them in between grades because some of the testing she's done, she's on an 8th grade level. So, what I don't do is school her based on, her current grade. I school her based on her test results. And if she's ahead, I let her go. Now, so I've been homeschooling 6, 7, 8, 9 for 4 years. But I say I've been homeschooling for 10 because I started doing flashcards with Lily when she was months. So like she might have been 12 months old when I started doing flashcards with her. And she started reading by 2 years old. And so did Junior, my middle child. They started reading by 2. Sight words and flashcards and things of that nature. And it wasn't repetitive. As far as I'm concerned, your children are your children, and the state say don't let them watch TV and have FaceTime and do it all those things or whatever they say. I say do what's best for you. For me, it never was like, oh, they don't get any screen time until they're 6 or whatever. I don't know. My thing is this: everything around my children is educational. You know what I'm saying? If they were watching television at 2 and 3 years old, it was always a learning program, always something. And, you know, they spoke and speak foreign languages and things of that nature because you have a window of opportunity with your children until a certain age. I think the Catholics say you give us your kids to a certain age and we'll have them for life. Basically, that span of time until they're 6 or 7 years old is the time you need to be building, shaping, and molding them and getting their foundation where it needs to be. And after that, then, like for me, it's learning. Learning is fun for them. Everything we do is a learning thing. So anyway, I'm starting to ramble, so I'm going to go now. The next steps will be in the next video. Let's go over the steps. First thing first, Google, is kindergarten mandatory for my state? Google that. Okay, once you find out, those of you who have children who are 5, by August, 5 by August, okay? If your child is 5, relax. Don't even worry about it. You don't have to panic and be like, oh, Lord, the state's going to come and look for me. No, they're not going to look for you, okay? The 5-year-old programs that you put your children in are federally funded program. The state is not going to come and look for you if your child is 5 and this time around they don't go to kindergarten. They stay at home with you. Okay? Don't freak out. If your child is turning 6 years old, double check with your state. If your child is turning 6 years old, for here is 6, you have to go to the website for your state and you have to fill out something called a declaration of intent. A declaration of intent. Okay? What you're going to do is, before you do that, you have to know when you want to start your homeschool. There are two types of homeschool, well, three. A homeschool where you it's a private, like a private homeschool, where the only thing you do is go on the website for your state and your county, and you put in the information. You put the child's name, okay? You put the child's date of birth, and then you put the child's age. I think you go on and put the child's age, name, age, date of birth, I think, and grade. I don't know what all it requires on your state, but you fill that information in. And before you fill out the information completely, you need to think in your mind, okay, when am I going to homeschool? If you're doing a homeschool that's not a programmed homeschool, and you make up your own program, you have to think, okay, school is 180 days. You need to fill out a calendar in your mind and think, okay, I need at least 180 days to be in this slot. They're going to say, what day are you going to start your homeschool? What day are you going to end your homeschool? Okay. You're going to start your homeschool on a certain date. You're going to end it on a certain day. But within that block of time, you need to put at least 180 days, okay? But in the regular school system, it's 240 days because they put in all of the holidays, okay? So think about that. Are your children going to go on a 2-week vacation? How many vacation days do you get during your homeschool time? It don't even have to be rocket science. All you got to do is just put your dates in, whatever date you want your homeschool in, and then with those dates, just make sure that you go in and pencil in when y'all are going to have vacation days, take breaks, and do things of that nature. It's your homeschool. You do what you want to do if you're not in a program. Here's the second thing. If you're going to sign up with some kind of online public homeschool, which is free in Georgia. I don't know if it's free where you are. Google it and find out. If you sign up with them, then there's a block of time that they have already set up that they're going to help you school your kid. In Georgia, they send the box with the computer and all of the supplies that you need for your homeschool. One of the ones that I know for sure, and my cousins have successfully completed, is called Georgia Academy. I'll put the link below. Georgia Cyber Academy. Okay, you put your information in, you tell them how old your kid is. You have to have a shot record for this particular school. You have to I don't know, fax, email, screenshot, whatever, their records in order for them to sign them up for the Georgia online or whatever online school that you have. I'm sure there are stipulations to whatever school that you're going to put your kid in, as far as dates and times and situations. My children are not a part of Georgia Cyber Academy because, number one, I don't want anybody telling me when to wake up, when they have to log on to the computer, what they're going to learn, and all of this other stuff. I've heard that there's a whole lot of work that has to be done, but there are benefits to it as well. You get a teacher or tutorer that can come in and kind of help your kid and kind of go through whatever the things. They also give your child an entrance exam, and that exam will tell them how to build their curriculum. For me, I build their curriculum myself. I have tested them and I know them, they're mine. I know what their weaknesses are and their strengths are, and so I order books based on their strengths and weaknesses. I push them to a level that they may not I don't know, they're not really difficult to school. They always tell me things like, Mom, I already knew this, or I know that, and I feel like I should be giving them I feel like I should send them a couple of grades up, but because my fear of having gaps in their education, I won't do it. I'll make them go through their books like zoom, because I don't want. This is why homeschool kids who don't go through a program and their parents pick out their program. This is why they're so smart, because the parents make them learn everything. Like, make sure there are no gaps in their education. Anyway, do whatever you want to do. Here's the third kind of school that you can do for homeschool. You can do a private homeschool. You can Google and figure, how to sign them up for private homeschool. Now, there probably are stipulations to that as well. But for me, we freely homeschool. Learning is not something we turn on and off, and it's not done between certain hours of the day. Learning, we do 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We watch a TV show and they use a word, we pause it, we look it up, and we figure that out. Okay. So that's all I have for this particular video. It was a lot of information, and I hope and pray that you understand what I'm saying. And if not, ask questions below, and I will be more than happy to share any information that I can concerning homeschooling your kids. I say much prayer to you and much love to you, because I cannot imagine that if my children had ever gone to school and I was kind of forced to homeschool them in a way. Not saying I wouldn't want to do it. I'm just saying, for me, it's our norm to already be at home. It's our norm we live an isolated life, I guess, anyway. It's our norm. We still get up and go to school like normal, or not go to school if we don't feel like it. So, but at the end of the day, you can do it. You can do it. I'm willing to help anyone who wants help with setting up their homeschool. Like I said, I'm going to do specific videos on things that will help you homeschool your children. Now, let me say this. Here's another disclaimer to this. Now, I can only help you from the ages of newborn up into 10 years old, because my baby's 10. And so if your child is in this over the 5th grade, I can help you set it up. But as far as the curriculum is concerned, I don't know what to recommend for them. And that's the biggest problem I think that I had in the beginning. I was so overwhelmed with so many different things to decide, like what curriculum to use and what's going to have everything that's needed in there. Listen, I can tell you what I use, and I can show it to you. But ultimately, I say pray, and keep praying, and ask the Lord to lead and guide you to some place. If you're a spiritual person, Becca, if you're a artistic type person, you might want to try Sunlight. I'll put all these links in the description. You might want to just go to Amazon and pick out books and let your kids try them to see if they breeze through them or if it's a challenge for them. Spectrum is a great book that we use here. But anyway, I'll do more extensive videos on what we use. And like I said, questions and comments, please leave them below. God bless you. And you know what? Hey, I say this. Yes, it's a sacrifice to homeschool your kids. And yes, it's a bummer to have to do it because of the pandemic. But listen, at least your kid is alive. You hear me? At least your kid is alive. And I'm grateful for that, for you. That you have a kid that you can homeschool. So praise God. Anyway, love y'all. Thank you for watching. Sorry for the wobbliness. I need to get my tripod. Talk soon. Bye.